There was a time when 380 ACP handguns were dismissed without a second thought. Too small, too weak, too forgettable. That's no longer the case. In 2025, this caliber has stepped out of the shadows with a new generation of carry pistols that are compact, reliable, and, surprisingly, feature-rich. These aren't the soft shooting pocket toys from a decade ago. They are serious defensive tools with upgraded triggers, better capacity, and designs built for real-world use. The industry has shifted. Shooters are no longer satisfied with bulky 9mm compacts that pull your belt down or demand hands like bricks to operate. This year, we've seen a wave of carry guns chambered in 380 that deliver everything a modern EDC should, without compromise. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 380s that are making everyday carriers rethink their entire setup, not based on hype, but on what real people are choosing and why they're not going back. The 380 ACP cartridge, first introduced by Browning in 1908, has quietly become one of the most widely carried calibers in the United States, according to data from the National Shooting Sports Foundation. 380 ACP ammo sales increased by over 22% in 2024, surpassing both 40 Smith & Wesson and 38 Special in civilian purchases. That rise isn't accidental. It reflects a shift in how shooters view defensive carry. New designs from Ruger, Walther, and Beretta have redefined what a 380 pistol can be. Models now offer 10 to 15-round magazines, optics-ready slides, and improved recoil control systems. Many incorporate better ergonomics, smoother triggers, and sights that are actually usable under stress. Features once reserved for full-size guns. For shooters who prioritize comfort and concealability, these updates matter. More importantly, they're changing habits. Carry forums and CCW communities show a clear trend. People are retiring bulkier Micro 9s in favor of modern 380s that shoot flatter, weigh less, and perform better than ever before. Not long ago, the Ruger LCP was seen as a better-than-nothing option, minimalist, uncomfortable, and barely more than a handful of polymer. But the LCP Max flipped that narrative with a redesign that actually invited respect. At just 10.6 ounces unloaded, this pistol fits squarely in the palm yet brings a 10+1 round capacity. That's the kind of firepower that used to belong only to double-stacked 9mm pistols, many of which weigh almost twice as much. Ruger's improvements didn't stop at the mag, either. The sights are now steel, tritium front with a drift-adjustable rear, clearly visible even under stress. The trigger, while still Dow, is noticeably crisper and more predictable than earlier versions. The LCP Max has become a mainstay among those who carry it every day, especially in environments where printing or comfort are deal-breakers, in police backup roles, private security, or even ankle carry setups. It's showing up more frequently for a reason. It disappears when holstered and delivers when drawn. That said, the lightweight brings a cost. Recoil isn't punishing, but it's sharp, and the narrow frame amplifies that feel in the hand. Reloads require a firm grip, and aftermarket upgrades remain limited. Still, for anyone who's ever looked at their old 380 and felt under-equipped, this isn't that gun. The LCP Max is what the original should have been all along: small, smart, and surprisingly capable. It didn't just improve the platform, it made it something people are choosing, not settling for. In 2025, one of the biggest shifts in the EDC market isn't about raw power or red dots, it's about simplicity meeting real usability. That's exactly where the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 finds its footing. Not because it does everything, but because it does just enough. Better than the guns it's replacing. Weighing in at only 9.8 ounces unloaded, this pistol comes standard with a double-action only trigger and 10 or 12-round magazine options, depending on configuration. The polymer frame, slim profile, and snag-free edges make it one of the easiest pistols to carry in shorts, in scrubs, or in a minimalist appendix holster. The trigger, still long but smoother than the original Bodyguard, offers consistency without needing manual safety. Most of the Micro 9s that people have been carrying for years, guns like the Shield or P365, start to feel like anchors after 10 or 12 hours of real-world wear. Holster drag, printing, and overall fatigue build up fast when the gun outweighs your comfort zone. The Bodyguard 2.0 doesn't aim to absorb every ounce of recoil. It aims to disappear. And in practice, That trade makes sense. The iron sights remain basic, and racking the slide isn't as light as, say, the Walther PD380. But that hasn't stopped everyday carriers from choosing it over heavier, more complex options. It's not a range gun. It's not trying to be your everything gun. Most pistols in the 380 category try to win you over by being the smallest, the lightest, or the most aggressively styled. The PD380 takes a completely different route. It focuses on comfort, not just in how it carries, but in how it shoots. And that's where things get interesting. Weighing in at 20.6 ounces unloaded, it's no featherweight, but that extra mass is put to work. Thanks to Walther's gas-delayed blowback system, a rarity in this caliber, felt recoil is noticeably softer, even compared to some 9mm compacts. The slide glides back with minimal resistance, and the trigger offers a smooth, repeatable pull that rewards steady hands. For shooters with limited grip strength or arthritis, this isn't just helpful. It's the difference between training and quitting. This is one of the few 380s that feels overbuilt in the best way. The enlarged grip, intuitive controls, and high-visibility sights make it far easier to run than its competition. It's not fighting to be the smallest gun in the drawer. It's aiming to be the one you can shoot well, over and over again. Gun ranges have reported an uptick in PD380 rentals by older shooters, women, and beginners looking for something controllable without sacrificing function. A firearms instructor in Arizona referred to it as the Glock 19 of 380s, boring in the best possible way. What holds it back? The size makes it a stretch for pocket carry, and its MSRP lands higher than most in the category. Holster support is also still catching up, but for those who need low recoil and high usability in a trusted platform, the PD380 is setting a new standard. Not flashy, not trendy, just exceptionally shootable. They say you can't go wrong with a Glock. That line gets repeated so often in carry circles, it's almost a reflex. But the Glock 42 tested that loyalty when it launched, smaller than anything Glock had made before, chambered in a caliber often ridiculed, and offering only 6+1 rounds. Still, a decade later, it's quietly held its ground, and in 2025, it's seeing a second life among carriers moving away from bulkier 9mm options. At 12-17 ounces unloaded, the G42 is slim, a lightweight, and unmistakably Glock in feel. It retains the safe action system, familiar trigger brake, and rock-solid reliability that gives shooters peace of mind. What it doesn't have is frills, no optics cut, no extended capacity, no unusual tech, and for many, that's the appeal. The Glock 42 isn't trying to be a trendsetter. It's trying to work every single time, under every condition, with minimal input. And it does. That's why it's still in the rotation of law enforcement officers who carry it as a backup, and why shooters across forums and training courses continue to recommend it to those who just want something that won't surprise them. Of course, capacity remains a sticking point. Even with aftermarket extensions, it struggles to compete with newer 380s that hold 10 to 13 rounds. And in a market leaning toward red dot compatibility, it feels dated. But sometimes, predictability is the feature. In a category filled with flashy newcomers, the Glock 42 is the one that just shows up and does its job every single day. And for a carry gun, that's never gone out of style. The first time you pick up the Beretta 80X Cheetah, it doesn't feel like just another polymer pistol. There's weight, metal, texture, things that remind you what handguns used to feel like before the era of mass-market minimalism. But this isn't a museum piece. In 2025, the 80X isn't a throwback. It's a redesign with a purpose. This updated version of the classic Cheetah brings a 13+1 round capacity in 380 ACP, an aluminum alloy frame, and Beretta's signature Vertex-style grip. It weighs in at 25 ounces unloaded, giving it the kind of recoil control that makes follow-up shots nearly automatic. The trigger operates in double and single action, with a frame-mounted safety Josh decocker, a setup that favors shooters who want tactile control over striker-fired simplicity. What's pushing longtime EDC users toward the 80X isn't nostalgia, it's performance. For those transitioning away from snappy Micro 9s or worn-out single-stack carry guns, the 80X offers stability without sacrificing concealment. It's slightly larger, Yes, but it carries like a compact and shoots like a duty pistol. On the range, it runs smooth and flat. That confidence has drawn in a wave of shooters who once swore they'd never carry a metal gun again. Still, it's not perfect. The price point sits north of most 380s, and some users find the safety levers a bit tight out of the box. Holster options are improving, but not yet widespread. Even so, when a pistol looks this good, shoots this well, and runs like a tank, people start to question what they've been carrying all along. The Beretta 80X isn't here to remind you of the past. It's here to prove that well-built never went out of style. Not everyone wants a double-stack, striker-fired polymer frame riding in their waistband. Some shooters still favor the short, crisp break of a single-action trigger and the tactile control of a thumb safety. That's where the Springfield Armory 911 fits in, not as a gimmick, but as a real solution for those who want 1911 ergonomics in a true carry size. At just 5.5 inches long and weighing 15.3 ounces unloaded, the 911 is smaller than a Glock 43 and thinner than most 380s in its class. It carries 6+1 rounds with flush-fit magazines, or 7+1 with the extended option. Night sights come standard, and the skeletonized trigger delivers a clean break that feels more like a custom gun than a pocket pistol. It's not built for everyone, but for shooters moving away from striker-fired micro-compacts, especially those frustrated with mushy triggers or inconsistent resets, the 911 offers deliberate control. Pocket-sized pistols with thumb safeties are rare, and this one actually works. Several carriers have cited it as their go-to when dress code, printing, or comfort force them into something small, but they don't want to sacrifice familiarity or feel. The recoil is snappy for its size, and the beaver tail grip can feel tight in larger hands. The manual of arms demands attention. It's not a pull-and-go option like the LCP Max. But for those who know how to run a 1911, this one rewards skill with precision. It may not be flashy, and it won't make the polymer crowd reconsider their Glocks. But for a certain kind of shooter, the one who wants steel, safety, and a trigger that matters, the 911 makes a strong case for staying analog in a digital world. While most 380 ACP pistols focus on disappearing into a pocket, the Bersa Thunder Plus does something entirely different. It brings 15+1 rounds to the table and doesn't apologize for the extra heft. At 20.5 ounces unloaded, this isn't your minimalist backup gun. It's a high-capacity, hammer-fired sidearm that offers old-school reliability in a platform that's still manageable for concealed carry. Built on an aluminum alloy frame, the Thunder Plus features a DASA trigger, manual safety, and decocker. The controls are full-size in feel, no fiddly levers or awkward reach, and the extended grip accommodates all three fingers without the need for base plate extensions. For shooters who've grown tired of reloading tiny mags after every few shots at the range, the Thunder Plus is a breath of fresh air. Why are some EDC users moving toward this heavier option? Because after years of downsizing, some have hit the point where comfort and concealment aren't enough. They want capacity, full control, and a pistol that stays planted in the hand during rapid fire. Security guards, off-duty law enforcement, and even urban civilian carriers have praised the Thunder Plus for offering something rare, a serious 380 with a fighting gun mentality. The trade-off, of course, is size. Pocket carry is off the table, holster selection is limited, and while Bersa's reliability record is solid, the aftermarket ecosystem isn't nearly as deep as Glock or Ruger. Still, for those willing to carry a little more in exchange for a lot more firepower, the Thunder Plus makes a clear argument. Small calibers don't have to come in small packages. The rise of these 380 handguns isn't just about size or comfort. It reflects a deeper shift in what shooters are asking from their carry guns. They're no longer chasing trends, calibers, or spec sheets. They're choosing tools they'll actually wear, train with, and trust when it counts. In 2025, that means ditching heavy overbuilt pistols for smarter, smoother, and more manageable options, and many of them happen to chamber 380 ACP. Whether you carry IWB, ankle, or jacket pocket, the gear is changing because the mission is changing. These aren't backup guns anymore. They're frontline tools, and they're earning that spot one user at a time. If one of these pistols has already replaced your old carry gun, or if you're thinking about making the switch, Drop a comment and let me know what made the difference for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay safe.